David. I'm going to be speaking about what I refer to as hostile profiling through social media and mobile devices, smartphones, smart devices, whatever. It could be anything from a phone down to your exercise wristband like your Fitbit or whatever. So yeah, so everything will become clear as I move through, and save no photographs please from anybody, because some of the stuff we're going to be going live on the internet. I'll forewarn you, this is the second time I've used this laptop, and I'm a Windows man and this is an Apple Mac, which is quite alien to me, so I'm taking a real chance, and I've not actually had time to even use it properly at home apart from install Office on it, so that'll go wrong, I guarantee. And also we don't know what we're going to see online and so on when we go live online, so I call it Chatham House, so what we see in the room stays in the room. We don't tell anybody that we've been looking at their social media accounts or anything like that, because that could have a bit of a reputational effect for everybody, especially me. So me, my company's in South Derbyshire, Blackstage Forensics Limited, and I've been working in this field now for just coming up to 10 years. And so I came into this late in life. I did a master's degree at Derby University in digital forensics, forensic computing and security. And so I'm a digital forensic investigator, which is analysis of phones and computers and so on. But what happened was, when I did my dissertation, I wrote it about how I could modify geotags in photographs on iPhones and timestamps of when they were taken and so on. So I could change all that data to create false locations and false timestamps, and how I could do that without leaving any forensic evidence. So it threw the reliability of this type of data in court as evidence into question. And when I did this, what I realised was a lot of the apps were starting to come out then. I'm going back to 2008 to something like that, 2008 when I started it. You've got the new apps coming out on the 3GS, the iPhone 3GS, such as Twitter and whatever. And for some people, high profile people, law enforcement, military and so on, diplomats, how their footprint through these apps could actually create a risk for them against hostile actors and so on. So I started talking about it at one or two cybercrime conferences. So what happened was, the university, after I graduated, my senior lecturer left and they asked me back to teach forensics as an associate, a master's module. And they sent me out to one or two. I just used to do lectures maybe 2 or 3 times a month. And they used to send me out to some conferences, and I got approached by a regional organised crime unit for the police to go and run a workshop for them around sort of risks from social media and so on to help protect their officers. And I realised actually no one else is really talking about this. So I decided, yeah, there's a bit of a niche there. So, but I was struggling, being a micro business, just being me, I was struggling to pick up work from the government in the UK, so I had a meeting with the Home Office, said, sorry, you've not got a tick in the box, and because you're what we call a micro business, you're not going to get a tick in the box. Although we don't have your skills and we need them, we can't deal with you. You've got to go through another company. I said, forget it. So I went off, got a bit of funding off UKTI, as was. I went off to Brussels and started, I did a seminar at the British Embassy, and within a few months I was working for the European Council, and as soon as I was working for the European Council, the European Commission wanted to work with me, because it's almost like, well, if they've got it, we want it. And then I had the European External Action Service, and over a period then eventually I started working for NATO, and I'm working at the moment for the European Council, European Commission and NATO. So with NATO, I work for NATO headquarters at the moment in Belgium, in Brussels. I'm looking at data leakage, social media data leakage coming out of their headquarters and the new build headquarters opposite. So for instance there you've got contractors who they've got access to plans, and then they're tweeting with their GPS on. You can see they work there, and for anybody who wants access to that building, then maybe you could target them to get access to the plans and so on. So it's all that sort of thing for them. I also work with them over in Virginia in the US. So There's Camp Allen. I did some briefings at Camp Allen back in, so that's sort of where the Navy SEALs are around there, over in Virginia, back in the autumn. And I do. My work is really starting to take off now with the military here, including Special Forces. I'm really busy at the moment with the police. I do a lot of work counter-terrorism and special ops and security and so on. So in 2014, I had sort of a tap on the shoulder from the National Crime Agency. Most of you hopefully know they are. Used to be Serious Organised Crime Agency. And I joined them as a special officer, for Queen and Country, I do around 3 or 4 days a month. So I've got full powers same powers as a full-timer, warrant card and so on, but I'm part-time, and I work for the National Cybercrime Unit, and then I moved over in September to Professional Standards and Security, and my main role is to help protect the organisation and the people that work within it, and also you've got like witness protection and things like that. And I'm now a visiting fellow at the University of Derby, and I work for the Cabinet Office. Occasionally they've got an emergency planning college up in York, where they do a lot of work with other countries around security around large events. And I do work I'm an associate with the BBC. Ray's talking about BBC earlier on. So I do investigations where people are targeting the talent, normally psychopaths who are using the platform like Twitter, email and text. You know, when the news is on, they're bombarding them with threats, how they want to kill and rape them and so on. And I will try and profile those people, pick them out, put an intel report together, goes into the police, and the police go and arrest them. That's the plan. And then where that talent is being threatened, I will sit down with them, we'll look at the data, look at how to eradicate it, and behavioural changes to stop that happening again, look at their families and things like that. So that's interesting, and I've just started now working with ITV and Sky as well. But not only that, do I do that, I will train them how to investigate online. So I run courses I tend to do one every other month for around 10 people in Tamworth. Does anyone know, we've got some networkers here, does anyone know Tracy Pound? Maximity in Tamworth. She's like IT, she does CompTIA and all that sort of thing. She's everywhere networking, she's really successful. And she's got a lovely training room, and I rent that off her for this course every other month. So I will train these people up on how to investigate online, but sometimes they get a bit out of the depth, and that's when I'll come in and I'll start doing some of the investigations for them. And that's like Estee Lauder, where staff are pilfering and running their eBay shops, and they want to prove that it's that person running that eBay shop. And then we've got Swedish military intelligence. I do briefings to them occasionally. Amazon, internal investigations for them where people are pilfering again. There's a lot of mini-organised criminal gangs operating. These places like Anthills. I went to Peterborough a few months ago, and they were saying to me, we've got a bit of a problem at the moment. We've got 2,500 employees, and the same time last year in this building we have 1,200, and the stuff is flying out the doors where they're slotting iPhones into packs of Pampers, and the mates are ordering them, and they've got people strategically in every department. And it goes on and on. I do a lot of work with the logistics industry, and I'm doing a lot of work with the police at the moment, and 8:30 tomorrow morning I'm running a workshop for Intel analysts at Gloucestershire Constabulary. So, and then I'm at Parliament tomorrow night. So life's busy, and Europol, I do training for Europol. So for me, I don't want to be training. My work is around investigating, helping protect people, and if I can share that with others, then that's good. And actually the training, anybody does training here, you can get booked well ahead, and it's nice cash flow as well, so you don't have to worry too much about your cash flow there. So it's quite sensitive, the fact that I work for National Crime Agency. You'll see on my LinkedIn profile, I hate LinkedIn, but you'll see that I say I'll do some work with National Crime Agency and military, but I don't state that I work for the National Crime Agency. So well, somebody leaked it out not long ago, some Frenchman, on some slides they published, which they haven't got permission. I've still got to sort that out, but you know, people will find out eventually, won't they? So I'm not anti-social media. I use Facebook. I don't get a lot of time to use it, but I'm on there 2 or 3 times a week. That's my profile there, a bit of a dopey profile. It's normally dancing dogs, and I try to share some awareness online. I've sort of given up now, because a bit of flogging a dead horse to an extent, you know, where people don't really listen on there. So I just let people get on with it and whatever. So I'm a strong believer in having a social media presence and having a Facebook presence, for instance, to at least have some control over your identity and whether you can be tagged or not tagged in posts, in images, and so on. So I think it is, to an extent, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, though. So, yeah. So, threat landscape's changing. There's a lot of stuff now where it's either going online or the online world can affect it. We were talking about streaming video earlier, and back in I think it was March in Paris. There was a guy, an extremist, entered the home of the police chief in a little town, like a suburb of Paris. He found his home, went into his home, murdered him and his police administrator partner while their little 3-year-old boy watched. He murdered them with knives, and while he was in this process of doing this and talking about his ideology, he was streaming live on Facebook. So he used social media as the planning process to locate them. And when I talk about social media, it's a loosest form. We're talking about open sources. So we're talking about government data like electoral roll and so on. So he'd use all these platforms to locate them, and then he was using the social media to stream his ideologies and why he was doing it. And he could be heard saying, sort of in his mother tongue, what to do with a boy, because this little 3-year-old boy is hiding behind the sofa, having just seen his mum and dad slaughtered. So we're seeing social media used in that sort of respect. There's a lot of reports recently about privileged knowledge. Company directors can be targeted because of privileged knowledge, or maybe wealth and so on. Good old Company's House, bless them, scourge of my life, because they insist on giving all the data away free now. If you've got your home address as a service address, your signature, your date of birth, it's all there, which can all be used against you around like security questions. And Company's House said, no, we don't share the date of birth anymore. We have the month and the year, and that's it. Yeah, from 2015 onwards, if you're unfortunate enough to, like me, to be a company director before 2015, your full birth date is there. And if you've been a company director since before 2013 and you've got your home address as a service address, it's impossible to get that data removed. There is no legislation to suppress that data. 2013 onwards, 2003 onwards, you're fine. You can apply to have data suppressed if you assess as a risk and can convince them. You can pay sort of 50, 60 quid a document to have that suppressed. But prior to that, you can't. You're screwed, basically. So Company's House really needs to sort of come into the 21st century, because the issue is, for me, yes, in the 20th century, yeah, it's not ideal that you had to pay for the data anyway to an extent, but in the 21st century, once they got your home address, they can start looking at your family, maybe social media data coming out of your home and things like that. Your kids are Instagramming, and then if they're doing it at home, they'll be doing it at school, and suddenly they're profiling your kids, and they can see, because your kids are saying they're on holiday, that you're on holiday and you're not home and things like that, and you can imagine. So, and we've got the likes of Lily Allen complaining. The police said she felt like a nuisance. That they made her feel like she was a nuisance because she was reporting about a stalker who got into a house or whatever. But when you look at her social media footprint, she was posting everywhere with a GPS on, and she'd been warned about that. So to an extent, I'm not that she deserves anything like that, but sometimes you can create your own problems, like Kim Kardashian. We know she lives her life on social media, and then suddenly she's surprised when people burst into a hotel room and rob her jewellery and whatever. And similar things happened Jensen Button, where they were reportedly gassed in the south of France. Although he uses social media a lot, he's quite secure, but his then wife was posting with GPS on, and I could pinpoint her at the edge of the pool in the villa they were gassed in the night before through her Instagram data.
Well, if I just answer that, because people always say, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over here. The insurance companies are now saying, we're not insuring you when you get broken.
They will. It's going to go that way.
Sorry?
So insurance companies are starting to look at this data now.
They're starting to get away with it, saying because you're not showing due diligence. You're saying to everybody, hey, I'm on holiday. They know where you live, and your house gets burgled. Why have you told people?
Yeah, well, you know, where do you draw the line with this? Because you could argue, we've all said, oh, we're coming here tonight, and it says on social media, David Benford is here. If my house was empty, you find it on company's house and whatever, go and burgle me while you're not here and stuff like that, you know. So it's really difficult, isn't it? It is really difficult, and it's finding a balance. And
if you put your pictures on when you come back to the UK, that should help.
Exactly. I mean, so when I'm dealing with people who are under threat, under, you know, the high risk, I will say to them, I'm not saying don't share your photographs online with people, your holiday, but do it when you come back, not while you're there. And make sure your kids do the same. And I've got a 15-year-old daughter, and this is drummed into her. She can share some photographs on iMessage, on the, you know, direct messages through her iPad with her friends. There's only 2 or 3 that she'll sort of iMessage, like text into, but she wouldn't dream of putting anything on social media while we're away. She'll do it when we get back. It irritates her, but she knows. That's the score, because if we get done over because of her, then she's got a bit of a problem, hasn't she? So, yeah. Mobile data, we're talking about 3G, 4G connectivity, we're not talking about Wi-Fi, okay? So these are the figures for growth over the previous year. So in 2015, which is the most recent figures from Cisco, mobile data grew 74% over the previous year. Yeah, its growth is massive. It's 44 exabytes. To put it in context, the year 2000, the whole of the internet, cabled and mobile, together were 1 exabyte. 44 exabytes, I think, is 10 to the power of 1 exabyte is 10 to the power of 18. So we're talking about lots of zeros. It's huge, and it's predicted to grow to 367 exabytes by the year 2020. So we've got these. Most people will now access through their mobile devices, access the internet. And then because we're using the mobile devices, we're getting metadata in photographs. If we're not careful how we're sharing them, such as GPS coordinates, the make and model of the device we're using, and so on. One thing I just wanted to point out here, which isn't necessarily linked to mobile devices, but anybody that's creating Office documents and PDF documents, maybe there's some sensitive data in some of these things. Is your name in the metadata of the document from when you've registered Office and so on? So if you go onto the Missile Defense Agency's website in the United States, mda.mil, and you drag all the PDFs out of it, you can pick the stuff out one by one from their names, the creators of those documents, and all you do then is get their name in quotation marks in Google, search it through to the LinkedIn, through to the Facebook, through to Twitter, and there's a lot of them within 15-20 minutes you can be looking at the front of the house. So, and they work for the Missile Defense Agency. So this is one of the reasons I was talking about some sensitive stuff I'm talking about today, but it's open source, it's there if you know what you're looking for. Not talking about hacking or anything. Open source information, open source data is freely available on the internet. It's where people have chosen to share it, or maybe sometimes it's there because people are unaware that they're sharing it. So we've got IP addresses can give the game away where you are, maybe. Apps, Twitter, if we're tweeting in here with GPS on, it's a bit like a Faraday cage, isn't it? But if we're tweeting in this building with GPS on, people can possibly see we're here. And it's not always where you are, it's where you're not, maybe. We're talking about homes and burglary. Number one tool for burglars for planning now is social media. It could be locations visually showing photographs. So I'm standing in front of Big Ben, taking a selfie. If I'm posting it in real time, you can see where I am. Or I could just be tweeting. I've got a meeting in London this afternoon. Sounds like a dopey thing to say, but how many people say that? And then the surprise then somebody is in the house, or they know they're away from the office, and we get the CEO fraud then where, oh yeah, while I'm away from the office, would you just move this money from here to here, please? Number of cases. I've got an example. I'll show you one in Derby here. Government shared data, electoral roll, plan permission, and company's house we need to be considering. Have you ticked the box so your name isn't sold on by your local council, for instance? Yeah, I ticked the box in 2010, unfortunately. Before then, I was clueless. So most people use social media in the home and the workplace. So if they know your office, they can scan your office, they can ring fence the office using online tools to see certain data coming out if you're posting with your GPS on, and then they can take your username, feed it into another tool, they can, so if you are doing it with your GPS enabled, they can feed it into another tool that then will map all of your messages out on like a heat map, and then the hotspots most likely will be your home and your workplace. So then if they identify your home, they can ring fence your home, and if your kids or your husband or your wife are doing the same, then they can link them back to where they go to school or where they work or where they play or whatever. So I'm saying when you use your social media, you really need to think about, should you have your location services on or off at any time? Recommendation is you just turn it off. So social media, Facebook, Twitter, we think about that, but we need to think about other things such as WhatsApp. WhatsApp is just like a dream of an investigative tool for me, because I can get so much from it because people are unaware of what they're sharing. So one good example is I had a $120,000 fraud which was linked to a domain, a web domain registered in Abuja in Nigeria, and the guy put a mobile number and whatever. So I took the mobile number. I use an Android emulator, so it's like a virtual Android runs on my desktop, and I've got WhatsApp on there, add into my contacts, comes up, there's his profile photograph with his mates with a motorbike, and he's got this slogan, to go me, which is like this chat app they use a lot over there. He's trying to pick the ladies up. To go me with a number, so I take that number and I prefix it with +234. Go into Facebook because I've lost my account. Can I find my account by my mobile number? Put the mobile number in. Up comes his identity, Chimney Akoma. Log into Facebook, US language settings, because it gives you more features in your browser, and search men called Chimney Akoma. There he is, and there he is with his 2 wives, and then we look at all his mates. His mates are in the army in Nigeria and so on, and start profiling out that way. And we know who he is now, and if we wanted to, we could get him arrested. But it was an arbitrary tribunal, so I wasn't privileged to share the information to get him arrested, unfortunately, but I know exactly who he is, and it's a great bit of fun to keep profiling because he keeps digging a deeper hole for himself. So when I'm doing my police stuff tomorrow, we'll be looking at him, no doubt. So the other thing is, think about your Spotify and so on. So we have habits of using the same usernames on different social media, and I've got a username I've had for over 20 years. You just search it within quotations on Google, and it's bang, bang, bang. Well, there's my Instagram, not my Instagram, there's my eBay, there's my different forums I'm in, forensic forums, and there's my got my eBay and Amazon and so on. Just pulls it all together. From an investigator's point of view, that's fantastic, but it's a good idea on your social media accounts to vary usernames and refrain from prefixing your webmail addresses with your usernames, because it's very easy for me, if I'm investigating it, to predict if I can get a partial email address from lost my password where it gives you certain characters. If I can see your username is, well, that matches these characters here, I can guess your email, and then I'll start drilling down further into your life. So vary usernames. eBay, Amazon, they're never included here, but they are social media, because eBay, you can get a username, partial email address, maybe a full address, maybe a mobile number. You can assess what products they've been buying or selling, their good character, bad character. Amazon, maybe glean political opinions based on reviews that have been posted on books and all sorts. It's just fantastic.
You get this message, it says it's encrypted, nobody else can read it, we can't read it. Is that bullshit, or is that real?
Yeah, the data's encrypted, but the government can get into your call records as such. I can see who's been calling, who's calling you.
You can't see the text?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at the moment. Not that I'm aware of. They use the Signal technology. Signal is one of the encrypted apps that Snowden recommends, and they use that technology within WhatsApp at the moment. But it's not to say that it's uncrackable. There was some buzzings about it the other day, so I don't use WhatsApp because it shares everything with Facebook and Instagram, and so I don't use it for that reason. I use it for investigations. So there's multiple hostile actors, objectives, sexual predators, stalkers, revenge porn, that sort of thing. Could be theft, kidnap. We're seeing increase in tiger kidnaps from business people through a mixture of company's house data and social media being used to profile them. Then they go around the house. There's one in Birmingham actually a couple of years ago. I had to deal with a guy who was a neighbour. They live in a gated close, and his neighbour was held his wife and kids were held hostage while he opened the premises because he sold guns and they wanted guns. So they had knocked in his house and got it all from social media and company's house data. So just think about Companies House and do your own risk assessment. I'm not saying anyone's at risk, but you could do your own risk assessment and is your man. Risk assessment, health and safety, risk assessment, and decide whether you are at risk or not. Reputation damage, another one for you, because I'm doing his sales here, look.
Yeah,
Reputation.
I like it.
If you've ever posted, think Facebook, what is it this year? Is it 12, 13 years old, is it this year? I think so, yeah. Yeah. Have you ever posted anything in the last 13 years on Facebook that in your current job could be deemed inappropriate and could slap you in the face? Yeah. The military, you look at the new recruits and none of the military, like especially the Americans, are looking at the history, and I look at it within some of the work I'm doing for them and say, are you aware this person was a pot out, 6 months before he signed up with you? Because he's there smoking a spliff. Has anyone looked at this, if the press see this? And we've had all sorts of things. I had a guy who, what was it? He got some T-shirt. He's in the Naval College in the States, doing his training, and he's got like the Muslim dating agency T-shirt on, meet your, I don't know, whatever. And he's like, what's this? And the next thing is he's off on some visit to some country with them, and he's posted on social media from in the middle of a mosque. I'm saying to him, are you aware of this? One, it's a security risk because he could upset one of the locals and they could potentially harm him. And what about the reputation issue, which is far greater for you? If this comes out, the press see it or the locals see it, and suddenly the American government's got this huge problem because everybody's up in arms about how your staff are behaving when they're visiting these countries. So reputation could be far worse in some ways, the effect of it, than somebody hacking into your accounts or whatever. So little case study here. I ran this a few months ago at it's CompTIA, actually, the conference up in Leeds. It's like an IT sort of group, and this guy, here, I'll show you what I did. This is a tool called EchoSec, which is a Canadian tool. You have to pay for it, and I put in Experian, so Experian headquarters in London. Does everyone know Experian? Yeah, all your credit card details and so on. What I didn't know, that the guy speaking after me was director of risk for Experian. So he was just sitting there. I didn't know, and until he came up to speak afterwards. But I could see that he was like this when I was speaking. I said, I'm really sorry, but see. They've not done anything about it, so obviously it didn't bother him that much. But you can ring fence an area and see the social media data coming out. So this is their building, and this is the first thing I saw. A contract to pass. So we know now how to make a contract to pass that looks the same as a contract to pass for Experian. So, so we've got that there. This is Instagram, okay? So we look at this account. Josh, and he's saying £160 for 12 hours work, buzz, and so on and so on. There's his picture. Looks like, look what he's wearing. So you think, okay. So this is his footprint. This is a free tool called Creepy, and this is his footprint dotted about. Yeah, got all the timestamps and the places. So you can look at patterns of behaviour from timestamps, times and dates you're posting. And there's this big glow here. You can see dotted about here. This glow, does anyone have an idea what that glow might be?
Sellafield.
No?
Pizza.
No? Here?
Pizza place.
What's near Oxford? In that area?
HQ.
No?
Bryce Norton.
Yeah. Or was it Abingdon, one or the other?
Bryce Norton.
Bryce Norton.
An army man.
So, Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah.
So looking at his post here, he books to go and see Manchester United and shares that on social media with his booking reference, which seats, the time he's going to be there and so on, yeah? Picture of his car, and when you enlarge it, we've got his number plates, yeah? He plays for the RAF football team, so we look at their forthcoming fixtures and so on. And look here, Norway. He's in the military, and what it turns out he's doing is a bit of moonlighting, carpet shampooing at Experian. Yeah, he's in the RAF. There he is in Gibraltar. So not only is he creating a risk for himself, he's creating a risk for his colleagues in the RAF by basically oversharing. There's another one there who's going to see the Libertines. You can't believe he got 4 seats for £3.50. See the Libertines. I can believe it though. So, because they're rubbish, aren't they? So there's his forthcoming fixtures here. So we can see where they're going to be playing and where he's not going to be and where he is going to be and so on. So, and you can see there, we can tell what he's doing because he's hashed his post here with carpet cleaner, balmy army. You can imagine this guy from Experience going, oh, this wasn't the worst of his problems though. I never told him the worst. So that message there is coming out of that house there, which is there, which is there. That's his house. Yeah, that's off, what was that? That's Google Street View, that was off 1 Birch Close. So then I've gone to like Zoopla or whatever, get the plans for the house. Yeah. Now, there's a thing, if any of you are buying your houses and when you look at them, they're advertised online, make sure when you buy it that they remove the plans. Yeah. Insist to remove the plans because many people don't, and burglars. I mean, just imagine, yeah, I can go in here. And you know, when the police are going to raid somebody's house, where do you think the first place they look for plans of the house? Zoopla and similar sites. So they can plan, yeah, we can get in round here, and burglars. What I always say is whatever we can do on social media as investigators, that the bad people can do the same and just a little bit more because they're not worried about warrants and ripper authorities that police have to have and law and money, cost of things. They'll just do it, yeah. So we can see that, and we can see how long he's lived there. Is it rented? Is it bought? And so on. And then we've got his blood group, his O negative, because they misspelt his name on his dog tag. So there's a layer. So let's post it on social media. So now we've got his staff number and his blood group, and there he is with his Auntie Steph when he's having an award in Belgium. So there's just one good example of oversharing, so we started off expect to be a nice corporate experience, and we end up with the RAF. You never know where you're going to go. I had one recently where we were looking at data coming out of Catterick. I thought Catterick's always a good one to have a look at, Catterick Garrison. There's been so many deaths there in the military over the past few years, haven't there? Controversial. And it's horrendous. It's horrendous. And all I'm doing is does anyone use the geocode operator in Twitter? Yeah, so if you type geocode, G-E-O-C-O-D-E, colon, paste your latitude and longitude, and then a comma, and then a radius, like 0.5 km, that will scan a location with a ½ kilometre radius for tweets. Yeah, and there they all are. So you can point that at any of these locations. It's like, my God. And there's somebody there, looks like he's in the military and he's selling drugs and he's taking drugs and he's having sex with girls and photographing them after he's drugged them up without them knowing. It's like, oh my God. So you never know what you're going to see. And it's good entertainment for yourself there if you've got a bit bored, and just pop your laptop open and start having a bit of a play. For financial fraud, so this is a roughly, it's all anonymised, a company in Derby were referred to me by UKTI actually. So they've got a company that supplies them in China, and they received an email from the company in China which came off 3 in the morning because of the time difference, and then 40 minutes later they received another email saying, by the way, we're having an audit at the moment, government audit, so we have to freeze our bank account and you need to pay the next invoice for this amount into this account. Yeah, and the lady paying the invoice didn't really catch on to the fact that that account was in Sparkbrook in Birmingham. That's a bit strange because they're in China. So she paid this 12 grand into Sparkbrook. Yeah, but what happened was the first email was genuine. Watch this. I've just changed that slide. First, yeah. 2 hyphens in the second email. So the crooks had registered this domain, China-goods, but China-goods.com. They didn't notice it on the computer screen. And when she replied to them, so obviously they captured the email, not the company in China. And then they replied to, they modified that email, forwarded it onto the genuine recipient in China, but they sent it from stevelane.co.uk, and that's a 1 rather than an L. Yeah, so they replied to it, back to the crooks, modify onto Derby. Then they sent another invoice. This time it went to Frankfurt with 3 Fs. Yeah, and then the other one was on to Warsaw. The one in Frankfurt, how you missed that 3 Fs and the guy's name was Sebastiano Mussolini or something. You think, yeah, okay, but she didn't. And so we're talking about 12,000 transactions, and a lot of them keep the transactions small because they're not flagged up on the radar of the banks then. So they go for small parts. But I've had one recently, it was $2.2 million off one email. So $120,000 was off one email because that company were all using Gmail, and Gmail's the worst thing to use in business, you know, if you're moving money around or whatever. It's horrendous.
What's your opinion on G Suite, like Google's products? One of Google's products.
I don't use them.
What about the security?
Well, security is what you make it. If you're going for your two-factor and whatever, fine. But what you have to consider is making your own risk assessment again. Everything you're doing is being scraped by Google, which is why it's all free. So if you've got sensitive information, I would be reluctant to feed it through Google just in case. Just in case. The chances of things happening are small, but if it's anything sensitive and I want to use like a webmail-based product, I'll use Proton Mail, and I'll ensure that the person at the other end is using Proton Mail as well. So it's all encrypted, and you know, the servers are in Switzerland and so on. The risk is lower. If you want to use a webmail-based product, maybe go for that. End-to-end encryption as such. No good from one end, you need both ends really. This is what the lady saw though. I mean, you look at that, looks normal, doesn't it? And so this is the genuine here, and this is the fake. And you don't always see that, you'll just see it from Steve Lane's whatever, you know, it's only when you click on it you maybe see the address. So the rule of thumb is financial emails, if you're a little bit dubious about anything or if you're concerned, then never reply to financial emails, forward them and type the address in and pick the phone up maybe as well. That's always the key thing.
What's the chances of that lady getting the money back? Because
right, because the one bank was in Sparkbrook, I got them to contact the police, contact the bank and tell them what had happened and ask them to freeze the CCTV so it didn't get overwiped, because it could take a while for Action Fraud to relay the information to West Midland Police. So they did that. The mule was arrested and went to prison off the back of that, the guy that took the money out, and the bank refunded that money, £12,000, luckily. The other two, the company in China, agreed to, because quite obvious it was their end, they were using webmail over in China. It's quite obvious it was from that end, but they wouldn't put their hands up. But I forensically analysed the computers in Derby, and nothing had gone on there that I could see. No, you know, it's not 100%, but I couldn't see anything. So they agreed to split it, so they lost 12,000 plus my fee in the end. It could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? So this is just where I'm quickly going to go on live. This is probably where it's going to go wrong. A, because I don't know what I'm doing with Macs, and B, you never know what you're going to see. So look, it's already going wrong. Right, I'm going to go into Facebook. So Facebook, even if you, I can't multitask, let me just log in. I'm a man.
Pre-recorded, so you can type it in.
Yeah, it'd be like watching paint dry, this bit.
Now we can see your email address.
Yeah, it's not though. You can email it if you want, but you'll not get anywhere. You see my profile picture in a minute there, look, so you'll see that's not me, is it? It'll come up in a second. Oh, this is going through Jazzy's phone, by the way, so that's why it's a little bit of lag on there. That's not me. So, right, so I've just clicked allow for it to see my location, but it doesn't matter in this case because I'm not posting anything. I'm going to put in here Jeremy Corbyn. There we go. There's Jeremy Corbyn. We all know Jeremy is, yeah? Get rid of this. This is his personal account, not his official account. And you can see he's got no friends, which we're not surprised there, are we? And we can see he's got no photos. Okay? Posts from 2013, no posts since 2013. So typically what we do here is I will... I knew this is all going to go pear-shaped. What you do... you see, on my Windows, I can right-click on there and view the source on the back of the page.
Two-finger tap.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you a beer. Right. So if I open this little search box up here and I type in profile _ID, that'll take me down to here, and this will give me his number. Now on Facebook you can change your name to whatever you want. Is it going to let me copy this? I'll try. You can't change you can change your username to whatever you want and your vanity name, but you can't change your number. Okay, so evidently this is quite a good thing to have. And what you do is you go up to this is what I do anyway, I go up to the search at the URL bar here, and I type in search / yes, it's worked. Paste that number, and then I'll put photos -liked. There we go. These are photos he's liked. This is his personal account. So we can start building up associates of Jeremy Corbyn off the back of this. If I change, and he's got his account locked right down, as secure as it can be. All right. If I change this to commented, this will give me photos he's commented on, which means in my mind it's going to be people who are more personal to him. So this lady here, I always pick on her. There we go. He's typed, "Hi Jenny, lovely photo, you're looking well." So she's a personal friend of his. So then we'll start profiling her and try and use information about her against him to make him step down as leader of the Labour Party, for instance. Not, well, just for example, whatever. So you can see how you can drill down into that. Now, if we change that to, for instance, stories. So stories are what Facebook refers to as posts. Posts. We refer them to as posts. Facebook refers to them as stories. So when I hit that, there we go. You'll not see anything because Facebook switched this feature off. Can't see anything. It turned it off about a month ago. But if I change that to liked, there we go. So these are posts he's liked. So you can see he's active, or he was last year, because he's liked his own official posts there. Talk about narcissistic, eh? So on Facebook, even if you think you've got an account locked right down, if you've commented or liked on other people's pages where they're not locked down, or profiles, then people can link it back and just build up a database about all your contacts and so on. So just be aware of that, all right? So you're never totally locked down on social media. Another one, Instagram. So especially with our kids, where they've locked their account down and then they tweet a link back to an Instagram post. Even if your account is locked down, you'll then see that post. So there's things like that that we need to be thinking about. So with Companies House, what I'll do here is I'll just use, I'm in Google, and I'll use a site operator, which means all of my returns will be on this one domain, companieshouse.gov.uk. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Hit that. So all my returns on Google will be on that one domain. So what I can do then is I can add other criteria. So I will put maybe barrister. And what I'm looking for are people who've declared that their occupation is barrister. I could do that further by, I could put occupation : barrister in quotations. So we've got there St John's Buildings, for instance. People, it's got a lot of offices there. Maybe not the best one to pick, but you can pick out people's home addresses from that. You can assess whether it's a home or an office address. Barrister at law. This might be a work address in this case, but you can just take that address there, copy that back into Google, paste that, get a street view on maps. Is it going to do it? Right, just change that. Right, so there's a house along there called the Muse. And obviously you can go onto Street View and sort of have a look around. It might be pushing it a bit through Jazz's phone here. He'll have no data left, I think, after I've finished this. So don't try emailing tomorrow. Yeah, I thought we'd be pushing it, but basically you can look around, and if we do a little bit drilling down, we can get the value of the house and so on, and look at the front of the house, get an aerial view of the garden for looking entrances and exits around the house, maybe plans through Zoopla again and so on. So you can see the issue about companies now sharing our data in this way. So back onto the slides to finish that bit. Get rid of this. Right. Don't know what that is, get rid of that. Don't need a dictionary. So, device connectivity. So, anybody of us that feel we might be at risk through monitoring or whatever, for whatever reason, maybe because suddenly we've made millions from our business and we're in the higher band of earners, or we're dealing with people who are, then it's also worth thinking about how we connect. And the things like, even for all of us, this is applicable, frequent locations on iOS devices, Apple devices. If we've got that activated, then although it's difficult, it can be sniffed remotely, where we can see the hotel you're staying in, your home Wi-Fi connection, and so on. We can get the SSID of your home. And so the idea, my suggestion is, if you've got frequent locations turned on your iPad or on your phone, turn it off. I've got mine turned off and I've noticed no difference in performance. This is an example of what you see, and times that you were connected to that network, and so on. You can't see it as clearly as that remotely, but so frequent locations, turn it off. If you're unsure, Google it or ask me and I'll show you after we've finished this. Other things to be concerned about for a lot of us are, where's me Dewberry? Here we are. So this is a Wi-Fi pineapple. Has anyone seen a Wi-Fi pineapple? Yeah, So this is a Wi-Fi pineapple which isn't connected. All right. But what this will do, when your phone Wi-Fi is on, or whatever device you've got, it's shouting out the most recent connections. So it'll be shouting out the name of your own home Wi-Fi SSID, yeah, so the name of it, and the MAC address for the sort of the unique identifier for the connection. And as soon as that sees it, it says, yeah, I'm it. It mimics it, and your device immediately connects to it, which isn't so much an issue until you start logging into sites and it's collecting your usernames and passwords and all sorts of ghastly things. And also you can load it with, so maybe they've got a login page here. So when you come into the restaurant, you'd log in, you can, you're a member of staff and you can sign in. So if we can mimic that page, then we're getting everybody's login credentials. And you can paste the web code into this and it will mimic that page, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So the key to this for me is, you can't, unless your Wi-Fi, keep your Wi-Fi turned off unless you're using it. And when you do use it, if you're out in public, have a private VPN, so it encrypts your data. So if you do type anything in, when you're connected to one of these gadgets, you can buy these on Amazon, right? They're about 120 quid, something like that, I think. This one has got its own little battery, so I can connect this to, just put it on my belt and walk around wherever. I got 240 on the train the other week on the way down to London, just in one carriage as people are going through and whatever. But just part of an experiment. I'm not a hacker. And I'm not intercepting anybody's data. I was just collecting the SSIDs just as an exercise. I'm not intercepting anybody's data. But if you've got your VPN, it can't see what you're doing. It encrypts your data. And something like, you can use Hide My Ass. We can have 2 devices for about $80 a year. Private internet access, it's about 4 or 5 devices for about 50 quid a year. So it's not expensive. I'd probably avoid the free ones because I think they're free for a reason. I don't like free things like that. This is a rubber ducky. You'll have seen that as well. Yeah. So I have this compulsion now, because I travel a lot on the train, and I tend to use first class on the train, so I have a nice table and whatever. And there was this guy sitting opposite me the other day. So I'm here on this side, there's no one opposite me there. He's sitting there, no one there. And on his laptop I can see there's a barcode, and I look lower down on the case and it's got his name. Let's call him Martin Woodward. Yeah. So me being the person I am, I just thought, okay. So I just look at my iPhone, Google his name, and it comes up, one of the big four, you know, the auditing companies, head of risk, director of risk. Yeah, and there he is. And I thought, oh my God. And I didn't do any more. I didn't drill down to where his house, but I just thought, that's ironic, isn't it? Head of risk. And what did he do 5 minutes later? He's doing all his figures, he's got his spreadsheet going, he gets up and goes off to the toilet. Just leave his laptop like that. Now, I could plug that in, and what that will do is mimic a keyboard, so any computer accepts it in theory. Most computers accept it, because they're designed to accept keyboards and mice and so on. And it will drag out your security credentials for logging onto the machine. And also the scripts now, where it will download any Office documents that are on machine. Even if, in some cases, the laptop is in sleep mode. So, even if you shut it down when you go off to the loo, just be conscious of it and try not to leave your laptop unattended anywhere in a public area, even if it's for a few minutes, because you never know. And these are $50. You can buy them on eBay. So I was talking about the SSIDs and so on, where you're capturing the SSIDs through the Pineapple, and you can go into sites like Wiggle, and you can actually type in the SSIDs or the BSSIDs, so either the alphanumeric identifier or the name of the network, and search for it. And there's a thing some people do called war driving, where they'll drive around with like a little GPS antenna with their laptop, and they're capturing everyone's Wi-Fi credentials, just the names of the networks and so on, as they're driving around. And then they'll drive back again, so it's clockwise and then counterclockwise, and then they'll upload all the data to Wiggle, and it plots it all on a map. So many people now, their Wi-Fi name, their router name is on this map, so you can do like a little Google search on it and see where they live. And I've done several and found, yeah. And another key thing is, don't name your network, your router, after yourself at home, because what I do, when people do that, all I do is I go into the searchelectoralroll.co.uk, whatever else is free, for that name in that area, and it verifies your door number. Yeah, so don't name your networks after your family name. So there's another little snippet there. So and that's how you see them. We see we've got Talk, and we've got Sky 468EE and so on. I think that's around Leicester, near Mount Sorrel. That's where is it? Barwell. Yeah. And what's funny, right? I was showing this in the Netherlands, and my mate went over. He was just retiring from the police, and he was speaking as well about cyber risks within physical security. And he went white, because what I didn't realise is this is the house he was born. He thought I was having a laugh. He said, "How do you know I was born there?" So what are you talking about? He said, "That's the house I was born in." It's like purely freak incident that was. So Internet of Things, where do I start? Where do I start with the Internet of Things? If you're going to buy any products, Internet of Things such as webcams or security cameras or your baby monitors, make sure that you can change the password from default. It's a device you can change the password, because you go onto other sites such as Showdown and whatever, and you can go into some of these interfaces, web interfaces, and listen to people's baby monitors and look around the houses through the webcams. So if you're going through anything that is connected like that, a security device, make sure you can change the password from default, because we've got all sorts here. Stranger hacks family's baby monitor and talks to child at night. Academics recently hacked Philips Hue smart bulbs, where they could control them from 200 yards away. It's not going to have a big effect if your lights start flashing, changing colours, really, is it? But yeah, there's all sorts of silly things. Yeah, Showdown, there we go. I've actually went into Showdown once, and I was listening to people's, they're having sort of online meetings, and they hadn't secured it, and you could listen to all their conversations that have been recorded, they're left stored on the web. You could listen to all the meetings just through Showdown, which is not ideal. So some key points there. I'm not going to read all them out now, but basically it's just reiterating what I said. So I rarely do these talks now locally at business clubs and so on, but it was just Jazz caught me on a good day. I was feeling good for some reason. I said, yeah, I've got up. And when you mentioned curry, actually, I think that was a thing that swung it. So I rarely do them, but I hope that was useful for you. And is there any questions?
I think you've just blown everybody away.
I've got one question. You know, when we see these garages and they tell us to register with a username and email address.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, you know, backstage when we do put a password in.
Yeah.
Can the company see what password we've got?
All depends. I mean, what I tend to do now is I have a 33 mail account, which is 33mail.com, and that. So I register like a domain. So mine is like NCU. So if I go to Texaco, if they say want you to register, I'll put Texaco at ncu.33mail.com, and that forwards onto an anonymous domain, and then that forwards onto my personal email. I'll never reply to it, but I can switch that off just like that, and there's no personal data linked to me through that email. But they're getting an email where you can check it and you can verify it if you need to, or whatever.
Alias.
Yeah, it's an alias. So that's a good thing. Never give your personal email away like your Apple email or whatever on that sort of thing. But possibly you could, you know, all depends how they've got it set up. So vary your passwords is the key thing, isn't it? Yeah.
With the domain names, especially the .co.uk ones, when you register them, you have to give your information,
Yeah.
which is available on Who Is
Yeah.
the internet.
You can lock it down. You can lock it down and consider using like your accountant or your lawyer's address or whatever, and or if you've got a virtual office or whatever, put that, but don't put your home address, and lock it down. Most now you can lock down. Yeah. With the BBC, number of the talent that have used their home address to register their domains because their agent said it'd be good to have a domain, a website, whatever, and they put the home address. It's like, and then they wonder why they're getting people knocking the door, stalkers and so on. It's like, yeah.
So you can use dummy address?
Yeah, but it needs to be something genuine ID. I mean, to be honest, if I'm signing up for free Wi-Fi, then I'm going to use my VPN to protect myself, but I'll put anything in because they're not asking for verification. I'll fill it with any nonsense, just like if I'm going to an airport or whatever. But if it's something where actually you might want to receive the email, then if you use like a forwarder like 33 Mail, and I pay for it, something like 12 quid a year, it's really cheap, and it gives me a bit of anonymity to help protect myself.
Basically keep you on side then, at all times. Basically just keep you on side.
No, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. And it's all. I mean, I do things like I do some briefings like with people who are working undercover who basically it's life or death, you know, with the military and so on. So you've got to think about your security and personal security online, or one little mistake and that can expose you, you know. So that's why we talk about these addresses forwarding and anonymity and so on. And there's so many things now. You need to be aware as well. There are apps such as there's on-off. Apps called on-off or sudo, where I've got them on here. I love that on-off because I can have multiple mobile numbers, so I can receive and send calls. It's all free. Once I've bought them, they're not very expensive comparatively, and I can ring you from any mobile. And I've got American numbers, French landline numbers. I can phone you from, and here, you know what I mean? It's not your. It's yours, isn't it?
No, it's not mine. You can have it.
Is that, don't know whose that is.
You can have it.
It's not mine. But I've yeah. So just be aware. And there's also an app and similar ones called Spoof Card. And Spoof Card, you type in the number that you want to appear to be ringing from, and that's what it will show. So I could put Jazz's office number in. I could ring you up and say, "You twats," or something like that. And,
That happens every day.
what's that, Jazz? And then put the phone down. Then you go around and beat Jazz up. Excuse my French there.
So is that what companies, you know, like I've had cold calls on my phone.
Oh, they've probably got mobiles. So using these
They're
apps.
calling from Hong Kong, but I've got a local UK number showing up.
No, the recent one for me is people ringing me from a Burton dialing code. Oh, right, so I'll answer it. It's at my daughter's school, I don't know. Somebody like on the other side of the world. And they're just using these apps, I think, and they just, use a local dialing code, they're more likely to answer.
That's it,
Any other
Sorry, what was
questions?
that app again?
I'll tell you. Spoof Card.
How do you switch off your location thing?
You can convene with.
Yeah, show me and I'll. Yeah, it's all in privacy and location services and so on. Yeah.
So David, in this world we're not safe, are we? No longer.
It's just different. You are safe. You are safe. It's just being aware and taking precautions. You are safe. You are safe. But you need to speak into guys like this who are doing the security. You know, when you're moving data between sites and so on, it needs to be encrypted. And don't be tempted to do it yourselves. Yeah. Looking after everyone here tonight. Looking after everyone. So, and people who do social media. So there was it East Midlands? Well, my brain's fried. Chamber of Trade. They got some social media conference a couple of years ago, and they paid me to go and speak at it. And they put me on last. All these social media people are speaking. Then I come on. I was like the Antichrist. And there was like 300 or 400 people in the room, and you could hear a pin drop. And then this girl puts her hand up at the front. She was only about sort of 20, something like that. And she said, so it's like ask the panel. They got me to sit on this panel and nobody would talk to me until the very last question was from her. She said, so you're saying all these people here, would you say that they're being irresponsible in not warning people about the risks from social media when they're selling their services to them? And I'm like... And I said, no, not saying that, but I'm saying maybe there's a lack of awareness amongst them where actually they should say, yeah, it's a fantastic thing, but, you know, there are risks around it and these are the risks. Just be aware and use it safely. And it turns out she was a student of law at Derby University and she was putting me on the spot. So, but I was all right anyway, but you could see all these eyes like lasers cutting through me. All these social media people and, yeah, I think they hated me, but there you go. Any other questions?
Yeah, big one. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah?
Is she guilty or not?
I don't know. What have you heard about Trump recently?
Yes,
With his Android?
Can we?
His Android?
No.
So there's a big hoo-ha going on with Trump at the moment because Trump has got a really old Android that's so old the updates don't work on it anymore, and he's still using it. He won't use the security device that they've given him, and they're saying you could endanger the security of the United States. Actually, this is ironic that he was slagging Hillary off for using her own server, and he's doing exactly the same with his Android. So, so yeah, they're all guilty.
They're all guilty. That's all I wanted to know. They're all guilty.
All guilty. Thanks everyone for your attention anyway, and I hope that's right.